sensitive soul friend. It's your energizing host, Nicole. Welcome to the Zenspiration Show, your one-way ticket to a mental margarita and a refreshing dip in the pool of possibility. Feel like life's turned the blender to chaos mode? Are you ready to break free from the noise? Create your own blend of Zen energy and inspiration? This is the show where we navigate the wild ways of today's world with practical wisdom, wonder, and a dash of magic sauce, so you get to live your life fueled by passion, purpose, and a lot of empowered vibes. Get ready to energize your life. We're headed to a magical place I call Inspiration Island. The Zenspiration Show starts now. Oh! Excited again. I can't even believe we're here again for another episode, and this is a biggie. This is, it's kind of a hot topic. Have you noticed as you're scrolling, as you're watching TV, whether you are, yes, I admit, I am a reality TV, a bit of a junkie. I do watch, not because necessarily of the drama, not because I'm not aware that it's edited for TV and for the drama, but I love watching human behavior and assessing. And this is really what I help real humans in their real life do, not on reality TV. But I started to notice something long ago. And at first, this whole topic that we're going to dive into today, I am not in any way saying that what we're going to talk about is not real for many people. Okay, here's what I'm getting at. Have you noticed as you're scrolling, as you're watching TV, that you hear terms and phrases and labels like trauma? Oh, that's my past trauma. Well, I have trauma. It's because I have past trauma. Or narcissist. Here's another hot button. Ooh, they're a narcissist. Their spouse is a narcissist. My ex-husband is a narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist. There's so many narcissistic people. I just saw something online about a particular very famous family. Is the whole family narcissist? This word gets thrown around a lot, and as well as many others. Now, this is not to say, or toxic relationships, that's another big one. You know, I bet that's a toxic relationship. You need to get out of that. You need to break up with them. That's so toxic. Okay. These all started with very significant meanings. They were created because there were people who were experiencing things, and this is what I really kind of want to dive into, not because these are not real, not because people have not experienced things in any of those categories, but because they're being thrown around. They're kind of being thrown around like confetti, like everyone and everything and it's everywhere. And I'm telling you, it's not. That's not accurate. It's taking away from the actual meaning, or giving our brains, this is it, okay? It's to give our brains some sort of structure to call it something. And as humans, our brains try to help us solve the mysteries. It wants to close the gap. What is this? Why is this? Okay, this is an awesome thing about our brain, is that it loves to help us solve the mystery, close the gap, but sometimes it will latch on to something to close the gap, and that might not be accurate for you. It might not be in your best interest. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to shine a light on, because not everything is trauma, and not everyone is toxic or narcissistic, or however, there's certainly a lot of people that might fit different categories. But again, these categories, they're created by people. They're created by people to try and make sense of behavior, try to make sense of something. And as you're scrolling, as you're watching TV, you need to be the filter for your own awareness, for your own self-concept, for your behavior, for what you are experiencing, and not allow yourself to latch onto something because it's trendy. This is just the truth. Okay. Social media, we speak about trauma and all of these things just incessantly. This is the way it hit. We were watching a show one night, Eric and I, and both of us looked at each other. I said, if this person says trauma one more time, like, who are you trying to convince? Yourself? The other person? But it's because we want, like, what does it mean? Why am I experiencing this? The other part of this term, which trauma really, I think it started to become more of an easy go-to narrative, the more like, oh, that's why I have trauma, right? I can explain it. I can explain why I feel this way. I can explain it away, give it as something. However, the more that we are saying that this is why, this is why, this is why, this is why, is putting the control out of your hands. We're saying, well, but this is why I am the way I am. Okay, but who do you want to be? Is this who you want to be? Do you want to be someone with this story? And this is not to minimize experiences. What I do, though, this is my jam, okay? I've had clients tell me, to be honest, horrendous stories of things they've experienced. I myself, I've experienced sexual abuse, neglect by parents, emotional neglect. My father left when I mean, these are just facts of my history. I do not do trauma shares. So when I share my background or the experiences of my life, I don't say, well, I have trauma. I just don't, because that's not, I don't identify as someone who has trauma, not because I deny it, not because I hide it. I don't sweep it under the rug. I don't mute it. It's what happened in my life. It is not what defines me. You see, this is why I only attract certain types of clients, because they don't want to be defined by their past. They have big dreams, big goals. They have a vision for their future. They see things in the world that they want to create a better approach and a better way to handle it, instead of slapping a label on it, being defined as something, to me, that does put you in a box. And it takes the control out of your hands, and you're stuck with it. Now, I have never resonated with that. That is never what I wanted. I do have a mother who heavily identified and resonated with, she wanted a label to grasp onto instead of decide for herself who she wanted to be and how she wanted to feel and live and experience her life. She was drawn into, for some reason, that path. This explains it. They finally figured out what's wrong with me. I'm bipolar, but guess what? She came home with so many different labels. Some people call them diagnoses. Now, I want to be real clear. In my coaching practice, first of all, it's not in the scope of my practice. I do not diagnose. It's also not my philosophy. And by the way, those types of diagnoses, bipolar, manic depressive, what you could go to different psychologists, psychiatrists, you could have them assess you, and you would get a different book of whatever they categorize it as, because these are made up by humans. There's no blood test, for example. If I go have a blood test and it shows I have high cholesterol, or there are certain medical tests that show medical impacts of our physiology, of how our body is functioning or what's not functioning. Oh, and it comes to the brain. No one's really doing brain scans to show the cognitive function. That's not what's happening. So now that we move to social media, where everyone is incessantly sharing their struggles and their problems, and there's a lot of, not everyone, they're not in my algorithms, but there are a lot of people who share every little detail, family fights, and all of everything that's going wrong in their life. And they're labeling it on their own. This was my trauma. I was with a narcissist. And there are millions. Go ahead, Google it. There are millions of ways to self-diagnose. You could Google anything, and then all of the results that you see on there, you can cherry pick. You could cherry pick what you want. Oh, I see all this person that I've never met. I don't know their background. This is not to poo-poo. There are a lot of people writing great blogs, okay? However, and with well-intended, like they're intentionally trying to help, but I have watched coaches and specialists and niches skyrocket around trauma, narcissists, all of these things, toxic relationships. These words are being used in marketing. We are being marketed to, we are being conditioned. This is why you're seeing so many more escalating terms, phrases, people with certain things. It's become a currency. It's a currency, this whole area of trauma and toxic relationships with narcissists, right? There are people who are specializing in this. And I do understand, and I think that we have a lot of well-intended people who are trying to help other people. They feel called to do that. I'm speaking to you, though, to assess for yourself. What have I been latching on to? What is the term, the phrase, the story? What am I reading? Here's another thing. I had a client come to work with me, and she said, I'm in this group and this group and this group for narcissists, being married to a narcissist, dealing with narcissists. Everything in her world was starting to just fixate on that. And you know what? She wasn't feeling better. She wasn't feeling more empowered. Initially, she was. So when we come back here on the Zenspiration show, we're going to look at how do we assess like what's going on. Okay. So is your trauma or is your trauma story holding you back? Is there actual, I don't know, but I want to help you look at that, because until you take charge and ownership of your life, your story, guess what? If we can change the story, we can be anything we want. You can develop into a person who's not defined by a term, a phrase, a trend, pop psychology, but actually someone who's defined by their soul. And that, my friend, is when your life starts to shift into something truly powerful that you love and enjoy, love waking up to every day. We are going to dive into that more when we come back here on the Zenspiration Show, right here on Transformation Talk Radio. Oh, thanks for coming back. We are going to go deeper into the layers. Is it your trauma? Now, this question sort of positions this like we're assuming you have it, and I'm not. So it's a play on words to say, is my trauma, do I believe I have trauma, or is my trauma story holding me back? Am I telling a story? Am I showing up every day that I have trauma, and that is why I'm not experiencing life the way I want to experience it? It's also not to minimize experiences that you've had. I have yet to meet any human being that has not had some negative experience in their life. I do not define, nor do I define this in my practice, nor do I have my clients define their negative experiences as trauma, bad, terrible. Okay, we just look at it. How did it feel? It felt negative. It wasn't positive, but that doesn't mean it can't be. Yeah, let's say that again. Even if you've had an experience that felt negative, it impacted you in some limiting way. It made you feel bad about yourself. It was hurtful. It was painful. These are all real parts of life. But in today's world, you're not supposed to have any of that. For you, if you did, oh my goodness, let's label it. We need to call it something or cancel it. Make somebody feel bad. You got to cancel it. But is that really helping us? Because I don't see the world getting healthier. I don't see a more empowered world. I see potential for that. I see opportunity for that. It's real opportunity. This is to present to you to assess, what have I been buying into? What have I maybe, without even really noticing it? I just hear it all the time. Have you ever hung out with someone and they have sort of a catchphrase or a funny thing, or you have a friend and you have these like little inside things, or you have your own sort of language with friends? I definitely have that. We have that here. You repeat a favorite quote from a movie because it sticks with you. Guess what? The same thing can happen if you're in a circle of people, or following things online, or reading things online, or hearing things in TV, commercials, podcasts, YouTube, Facebook groups. Goodness, there are so many ways to access these trendy labels and trendy phrases and just sort of adapt them into your language, into your mind, into your life. That's what we need to be aware of, because that's not being soul guided. Your soul isn't sitting there tapping you on the shoulder saying, well, it's because of your trauma. It's because of their narcissist. That's why you can't do what you want. That's not how it works. Your soul says, hey, what do we want to experience? Guess what? No one says, I want to experience a limited life because I have trauma. Nope, never heard that one. And I've had a lot of conversations with people from all over the world who want to improve their life. They want to be who they feel called to be. They want to create a difference in the world. They want to feel healthier, more vibrant. They want to have vitality. They want to feel more confident. No one has ever, in the thousands of conversations I've had over the last 25 years, has ever come to me and said, I want to live a limited life because my trauma story. I want to not do what I want to do. And it's not even up to me anyway. It's because everyone's toxic and nobody says that. That's not what we get up and say to ourselves every day. But it can be a life that you're living. It can be a box that somehow you've been put in without even realizing it. And well, I'm here to help you get out of that box because there's so much available for you. And you don't have to be or not be anything that is defined by what started as something to try and help people and has become, unfortunately, a narrative, a trend, a currency, a niche, a topic, something that gets attention, sympathy. Unfortunately, that was a lot of what worked for my mother. It afforded her much attention, especially from new people. Oh, oh, Sharon, oh, goodness, I can't believe what you've been through. And with every response that she received like that, her story became more dramatic and more emotional. Now, I didn't want any attention like that. It's not even about getting attention. I just like to be moving through my life, helping, empowering, and inspiring other people. It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel on purpose. It makes me feel most alive. There's nothing about my mother's approach and early on in my story that was definitely why I didn't want anything to do with it. I did not actually set out, I'm going to go on a personal development journey. That's not how it started. And it was over 30 years ago. Basically, my whole path was sparked and ignited by not wanting to take the path my mother did. because I didn't see her getting any better and I didn't want sympathy from people. I've been through things in my life, but I didn't. And I see people who have gone through things that I consider, by comparison, whoa, I don't know how they made that through that. I have had clients tell me things they've experienced, and they are still positive. They still want to improve. And yet the experiences that they went through, I would consider were traumatic. They weren't fun. They were horrible. Like, you could say they're horrible. You could say things like that. They're not something that we get up and say, oh, I want some of that. But there's a different kind of person who says, even though I've been through this in my life, for me personally, everything that I went through, the bullying, the abandonment, the blah, 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 right? The things activated within me the strongest purpose. I could help people who are in a position where these types of things happen, and I could actually come from a place of understanding. That's what I value. That is what gets me to get up every day. It's what gets me emotional, because to feel alone in an experience, that's what I don't want for other people. That's why I chose this path. It's to show anyone who is interested in a more empowering approach that what you want is possible, regardless of what the world is doing, regardless of your experiences. In fact, I have found that the people that I attract that want that improvement, that empowerment, they want something better, the more traumatic, if we could call it that, the experiences that they've been through, the more negative the experiences, the more passionate they are about finding their path of purpose. The more prepared they are to be able to help other people from a deep place of understanding. And I just find that so powerful. I don't find it debilitating. I don't find it sad. I've told people my entire life, I do not share the details of my past for sympathy. Do not feel bad for me. I took those experiences and I made purpose out of them. It's what helps me relate with other people. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So for you, this is, instead of putting this in this tidy little framework of this is trauma or I had trauma or this or that, okay, is to understand it's all coming from wanting and understanding. And I've had clients tell me as well, I guess when I first understood this, or when I first heard it, even when I was exploring about being highly sensitive, at first I thought, oh, that makes sense. It was like a lift. However, after that, I found a lot of disempowering information. Oh, you're a target for narcissists, you're this, you're that. I thought, ugh, I'm going to walk around with a target on my back. That does not feel empowering. So these events happen in our life out of our control. And I want you to know, okay, because when we come back, we're going to talk about who do you want to be? What is it you see for your life, your path? What do you feel called to? I can tell you it may stem from these experiences that you don't want others to go through what you did, or to feel alone or misunderstood, or feel that these events were out of your hands and the way that you feel about yourself is out of your hands because of it. That makes you a victim. We also don't do Victimville in my world or in my practice, because I was raised in a home of Victimville. Nothing was ever, my mother couldn't change any of it. Poor her. Okay. So it gave me a deep drive. It activated something in my soul to say, that cannot be it. There has to be a different way to approach this. There's no way that because these things happened, I didn't know they were happening. I didn't know they were going to happen. Did not either, but they happened. So why not harness that in your favor? Why not use them, transform them? And I want to talk about more about how I do that and how my clients do that to help you do that from right where you are, okay, when we come back, because you're not powerless. If all we are stories of trauma, we are powerless to change who we are, how we show up moving forward. You are living trapped in that experience of the past. And I want to help you move forward, look to the future. What do you want? Who do you want to be? So give that some thought. Who do you want to be? What do you feel called to create in the world? And when we come back here on the Zenspiration show, let's figure out how to put those puzzle pieces together to give you that clear view, that clear picture. That's right. We're going to talk more about that when we come back right here. Transformation Talk Radio Network. I'll see you after the break. Hey, welcome back. I love hearing our welcome back music. I get to do a little dance break while we come back. Here we are on the Zenspiration show. I am your host, Nicole, your Tropisoul guide to a new perspective on a trendy topic. So if you're still with me, you get it. You get it. That this is an easy way to sort of explain things, categorize things. It's, I do joke. I like labels on my soup cans in the cabinet or on things in my office supply plot, my magic closet over there with all my office supplies. I love office supplies. However, I don't label me. I don't want those types of labels on me. I've never wanted to be put in a box. So if you're still with me, I get that you dig that. That is vibing with you and you like it. So let's shift. Now that we've explained, okay, there's a pop psychology thing going on. It's a money-making pop psychology thing going on. There are people, even well-intended people, but people sort of profiting off of that whole thing. And since 2020 and the pandemic, well, there's been a serious increase on all of this trauma, and people really are still caught in what happened, the events that happened. There are many people who have been impacted by that in all different ways. And the sad thing is, a lot of younger people. And my passion, I didn't have a lot of empowerment growing up. I had people, thank goodness, people in my life that saw something in me and stepped into my path and helped me along the way. Thank goodness for that. Mentors and special people. But it wasn't really like there were classes on empowerment in school. There wasn't anything like that. It's probably why also I just love 80s movies, and I could see myself. You could watch a movie and feel part of someone's story in a movie where you watch their journey and you watch how they pull themselves up, and they get themselves through something, and you get to see them triumph in the end. I'm drawn to all of those things. And I thought that is what I want my story to be about. I don't want to stay stuck in these experiences or stay stuck, predefined even by what my mother was telling me, that what she was experiencing and her things she was being diagnosed with, that those ran in the family. That's basically was my path was going to be. So all of these things added up. So now that we've really identified this stuff's going on out in the world, but your life gets to be up to you. No matter what the events of the past have been, they only mean the meaning you give them. I'll say that again. Things in your life, no matter what you experience, only mean the meaning that you give them. They are not permanently defined by something you read online. They're not permanently defined by if you went to therapy. I've had, in fact, many of my clients, I don't want to say all, but most of them have come from trying therapy first. Years of therapy, trying all different types of therapists, different types of therapy. And then they come and work with me, and they have said things like, I can't believe this. I've had a breakthrough in our first 30 minutes of a session that I have never found in 10 years of therapy. Or I've been in group therapy for this many years and I've not ever felt this way. So it's really up to you. Everything that you want to experience in your life, the way that you want to feel in your life, the way that you see your life, the perspective you choose, it gets to be up to you, but only if you grab those reins and say, all right, I'm taking control of this, baby. This life gets to be up to me. Now, how do I want to define it? So let's do a little bit, because I'm going to present to you that the negative experiences that you had in your life, whatever they were, if you are like me, you've been bullied, or you had different, even that phrase, being bullied. Now being bullied is someone was rude to you. Oh, don't bully me. They were rude. And this is just taking away the actual meaning, but have you had experiences in your life that impacted you in a negative way? It's okay to say yes. Yes, I have. I didn't enjoy them. They weren't fun. And I cried. I felt hurt. I've had things happen. Look, people can be disappointing. They don't have to fit in some big category. They could just not be in alignment. They could be disappointing. They're not working on themselves. But I'll tell you this, the more that you have had these things, one, it is definitely a sign that there's something to be done with empowerment, and that you are being called to rise. These experiences are not just because you didn't speak up for yourself, or not just because someone was mean to you or any of those things. They can be for you. I'm only presenting that as an option. They can be for you, though, an opportunity to redefine them in a way that helps you become stronger, helps you understand yourself at a deeper level. So here's what I'm saying. And this is a weird question many times for my clients, because it's the first time anyone's ever presented it this way. When I say, I'll listen, what happened? They tell me. I already got it, but they tell me because they may not feel heard in their life, or they haven't really had a clear space to put it all out there without judgment or fear of anything, right? And that's the space I like to create for my clients. And then I'll say, okay, so why was that experience perfect for you? Now, this is a bit of a shocker. What? Perfect for me? It wasn't. It was terrible. It was hurtful. It was painful. Yep. Why was it perfect for you? There's typically a long pause because they're a little confused. Because remember, I told you that your brain loves to close the gap. It wants to say, you presented me with a question, I want to fill it in with an answer, but that answer has me a little perplexed because I've been taught that these experiences are horrible for me. They're terrible. I've been wounded. I have all these wounds. I have shadows. I have pain. And what do you want to do with that? Do you want it to control you? Do you want it to guide the rest of your decisions, your life? Do you want to feel impaired by it? Or could we say, these experiences happened for me. I want to redefine them in a way that serves me so that I rise up, I'm stronger, I'm more confident, I know myself at a deeper soul level, and I can be more aware of my life, my decisions, my path. I could be inspiring for other people just because I refuse to let those things put me in this small space in my life. So when I say, how is it perfect for you? What I mean by that is, what did you learn about yourself? What can you gain from it? What's a different perspective you have of, now I'll tell you, because I had bullying growing up, I was the quiet, sensitive, you could see, this is again a label, but we like to say, oh, they're so shy. Okay, I just wasn't, like I am here, or when I'm teaching, coaching, speaking, okay, I was picked on the playground, in the classrooms, in the hallways, all through school. And what it really did for me It helped me understand and be so acutely aware of someone that I could see across the room. I could sense that feeling of feeling as an outsider, maybe a misfit, feeling nervous, not included. And man, I will beeline it for that person and say, hey, how are you? How are you enjoying that? I want to invite you in. When this was part of the whole reason I started online communities and groups, and because I wanted those people who felt on the outside. By the way, if you're not a member of our online community, Empowered Living, right? Soul guided strategies for ambitious spiritual seekers on Facebook. Do come join us. It's a very different kind of vibe. And if you want to have an empowering energy, an ultimate energy vibe to your life, that is the space to be. I love creating groups and inviting those people in, because what's interesting is, and I've had this said to me so many times over the years since starting my own groups, I have never, Nicole, I've never joined a group where I felt instantly like I knew everyone. I feel so welcome. This is such a great space. I feel like I've come home. These are real comments made by people that were new to my world. They were new to our group. But because I invite such amazing people, and we all know the feeling of being excluded or labeled or treated differently, it's wired into us to be welcoming, inviting, to be comforting, supportive. I have met some of the most amazing, kind souls from around the world simply because they felt like an outsider in their life and have become part of our community. So you want to take a look at your experiences and how do you talk about them? How do you present them to other people? Are you referencing them as that bad thing that happened, or this is why I'm always this way, or this is why I feel like this, or I can't because, those types of things? And why were they perfect for you? What have they made you realize about yourself? Do you treat people different? Now, not negatively, right? Do you treat people differently? Are you kinder? Are you more inviting? Are you more welcoming? Are you more understanding? Are you more helpful? Because you didn't have that in your life. I'm grateful for all the things that have happened in my life, not in a cliche way, but because I chose to harness those things and create awareness for myself. That's what I'm presenting. Who do you want to be in your life? And how can these experiences, no matter how they impacted you negatively, become a positive for you? That's really the gold that I unwrap with my clients, is transforming these experiences into something powerful that gives them more purpose, more mission in their life. I call it my MVP. My mission, my values, my purpose. I lead with my mission, my values, my purpose. Wow, yeah. I'm an MVP in my life because my mission, my values, my purpose help me help others. They give me something to get up and be about every day, right? To help you do that. So you want to look at, what are the stories you're telling? What are the facts that you're sharing? How are you defining them? What is the meaning that you give the events, the stories, anything that's really happened in your life? What do you see in the world that feels frustrating for you? I look out in the world and I say, oh my God, all these people think they have a problem with anxiety. They think they have a problem with trauma. They think that this label is the reason that they are unhappy, unhealthy, can't do what they want. No, that's the story that you've bought into. So I get frustrated. I get frustrated because that is what I grew up with. So growing up with a mother who developed schizophrenia from going on and off all her medications and in and out of all her therapies and really buying into all of this identity, it activated something strong within me that I cannot let someone feel that they don't have control or power over their own path or over their own life. if they're open to it, of course, right? If you are a person who's like, yeah, I didn't even realize buying into that stuff. I was adapting for myself these identities from the internet. I was Googling my future. Google doesn't care, by the way, if you're happy or not. Google doesn't care if you find your way, find your path, you find the right blog. Google doesn't know your background, your personality, doesn't know anything about you, doesn't care about you. And by the way, depending on where you live, that's what Google gives you. I care. I want your path to be empowered. So when we come back, let's give you some like tangible things that you can do. And I want to share a story with you about a very special client of mine, because this is where you empower your path. This is about empowered living to move forward. It's absolutely, absolutely necessary with all the messaging that's out in the world, and everybody else and their neighbor sharing their opinions and their unfiltered stories and problems. Okay. So when we come back, we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to put a big, pretty gold bow on it for you right here on the Zenspiration Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, before we dive into this, remember now, there is an empowered group, an empowered space online, believe it or not. Yes, it is highly calibrated. I am very, very meticulous about the energy in our space on Facebook. Empowered Living, it is Energize You, Empowered Living. And I present in there soul-guided strategies for my ambitious spiritual seekers. And every week, I go live in there. You can interact with other amazing, like-spirited souls from all over the world. And we are really ramping things up just really because of everything that I covered today. You want to make sure that what you're seeing in front of your precious eyeballs that connect you to your precious space, this precious 6 inches between your ears, that it empowers you. And that you are surrounding yourself with people who want to improve, who are as playful as I am about everything. I am actually pretty dang serious about transformation, empowerment, inspiration, and prioritizing your well-being, prioritizing yourself, how you show up for you first. Okay, that is definitely for sure. Now, if you want more information as well, you can always go over to my website, which is energize-u.com. Lots of adventures there. It's not a typical website. It's not the way that I look at it. I always want to put at your fingertips things that you get to choose your own adventure. Those are my favorite books as a child. Choose Your Own Adventure. Clearly, they made an impact, because that's the path I want to help you create, is to choose your own path. So it's about being a filter for yourself. And I received news this week that it gutted me. It was shocking, but also I look at it a little bit different, maybe. And that is that a friend of mine who was a client in my early coaching years, on my coaching journey, I found out that she passed away. And, I sat with her information this morning, her file and our notes, and remembering, and I said I was going to try to do this segment without crying, but I just loved this lady. She was such an inspiration. And I hear so many people today, they're really stuck in, what do I do? They're kind of waiting it out. They've seen a lot of things online. Maybe they've lost faith. They've heard a lot of people talking about all their promises and how they can help. And so they're either not doing anything, or they've tried so many things already that haven't worked. And I was reflecting about Donna, and she wasn't like that at all. I mean, she came out of an abusive marriage of 30 years. When I met her, she had already left the marriage. She was about to have hip replacement surgery. And she said, and it was that type of meeting where you just feel like, have we known each other already? Like, is this we're just reconnecting in some way? It was that kind of a spark of connection. And they are my favorite, of course. She said, I'm just at a point in my life where It's time for me. I want to be there for myself. She didn't have a lot of confidence. She wanted to have a loving relationship in her life. And so, very rapidly, we started working together. And it's one of my favorite stories because Donna was an artist and she used to draw these, she called them like doodles and sketches, but they were incredible. And so, because of her artwork and loving that, instead of writing out her goals, I said, why don't you draw it? Why don't you draw what you want for a relationship? And while in recovery from hip replacement surgery in the rehab center, we were doing coaching sessions. I mean, amazing. This one was like, no, this is it. I'm throwing down the gauntlet for myself. I'm doing this. And we had these amazing calls, and I just loved working with her. She just immersed herself in this whole concept that if she changed her mindset, if she changed and redefined why things happened in her life, that she could create the life she wanted. She drew a sketch. I gave her some insightful, sort of tailored homework to do a meditation, and I gave her the how-tos. She did the sketch. I still have the email in her folder where she sent me the sketch. She told me how the event went. And within, I'm going to tell you this, she called it, this is my drawing of my perfect man. Within 3 weeks, she met a new man. They were married. I had the honor of attending their wedding. And I watched her. That was in 2014. That was in 2014. And I watched this woman just blossom, her life, her children, her happiness. Her artwork, she went and started selling artwork. She was in a studio. She was involved in the community. She was taking care of her kids. She was traveling. She was doing all of these things that when we started working together, she could not even see for herself. What I'm presenting to you is do not let any story of the past or any predefined term, trendy label, pop psychology, whatever, define who you are, who you want to be, or what is absolutely possible for you. That gets to be up to you. So while I'm sad that Donna left us here, I know that she is continuing her journey. She was in the happiest phase of her life. She truly embraced what was possible for her and what she wanted. She met new people. She was outgoing. She was beaming happiness, like beaming. Every photo I saw of her, messages we would exchange with each other over the years. She wasn't just a client. I don't just have clients. Donna became a lifelong friend. I want that for you. I want you to be beaming with happiness. I want you to live a life defined by you. I want you to meet the people you're here to meet, express the gifts you're here to express, whether it's your artwork, your writing, speaking, maybe it's helping animals, children. Here's what I know that I know. I know our children need us right now to live empowered. They need better examples than they're getting right now. They need a lot better examples than they are getting right now. Now, while I didn't have a lot of examples in my immediate circle, I did look out in the world and I saw inspiring people. I saw and met people because of that. And I thought, I don't know what they're doing, but I want to figure it out because I want some of that. I don't want to be stuck in this predefined structure, this tidy little box of limitations. So that's what we're really about here on the Zenspiration Show, and what I'm here to help you with as a coach and guide. I want you to know your life gets to be defined by you. The events of your life only mean the meaning you give them. And from here on out, be very aware of what you read, talk about, what you take in, and how you're perceiving it, and never allow it to minimize your potential or who you are here to be. I want you to live the most amazing and inspiring life that you are truly meant to live, the one guided by your soul. I am just here to help you and guide you and help you make that connection and keep it strong. That's what we need for the future. It's what our younger generations need for the future. And until next time, I am Nicole, your Trapezoid guide, and I will do everything I can to keep shining the light on your path. Until next time, bye for now. Thanks for tuning in, my Trapezoid friend. Coach Nicole here, signing off from the Zenspiration Show and Inspiration Island. Remember, the magic doesn't end here. We are just getting started. Keep shining your light, embracing the adventure, and spreading those empowered vibes wherever you go. I'll see you on the sunny side. Until next time, stay energized for life.